think not. The case will also be brought against an entity called Contemporary Services Corp., who provided security. The case will be brought against Harris County Sports and Convention Corporation, the premises owner who worked with NRG, was supposed to provide security and make sure the facility was safe. I want to remind you that this is not the first instance where people were injured at concerts. It's a long history in the United States and in the world where individuals who came to a concert looking to have fun, looking to enjoy themselves, did not leave, or certainly did not leave still alive. One of the experts who's looked at the history of concert goers and the multiple events that have occurred has said the history of how the concerts are handled is a history of disinterest and greed. I think that's what we have here. And let's talk about Jock Webster II, otherwise known as Travis Scott. On August 2nd, 2015, Travis Scott was arrested in Chicago for disorderly conduct after encouraging fans to jump over security barricades during his performance at Lollapalooza. In 2017, Travis Scott was charged with inciting a riot, disorderly conduct, because he encouraged the crowd to bypass security and to bypass on-duty police officers. Let's take a little further look at Travis Scott and his antics. You got sound? In this video, you see Travis Scott standing on the stage, encouraging people to bypass security and to charge the stage. Travis Scott specifically yelled into the crowd, asking them to bypass security, bypass the police personnel, and rush the stage. Next slide, please. In that video, you saw Travis Scott, who was crowd surfing. Someone took his shoe, and he instructed the crowd to F him up, F him up, F him up, to the point the poor person who was being targeted by Travis Scott had to be carried away to escape with his life. Next slide.
I see you, boy. Turn the lights on. Turn the lights on. I see you, boy. You gonna do it. Give me 18 real quick. I see you, boy. You gonna do it. Turn the lights on. Turn the lights on.
In that video, you see Travis Scott encouraging someone who's standing on the upper levels to jump into the crowd. And during that very concert, somebody was pushed and was incredibly badly injured because of his conduct. Next slide. Here's a tweet Travis Scott sent out before another concert where he's encouraging people who don't have tickets to crash through the security and come to the concert anyway. Next slide. That's just a small snippet of the video to encourage concert goers to attend Astroworld. This was video from previous Astroworld concerts. It's utter chaos. Utter chaos that's encouraged not only by Travis Scott, but by everybody involved in putting the concert on. Next slide. Now, this tweet was reported, and we haven't been able to confirm, and maybe you can, whether this tweet is legit. But here we have a tweet from the Houston Police Department where they acknowledge that the security at Astroworld concert was insufficient. And you'll also notice, if you go back and you look at Chief Fenner, some of the things that he put out in some of the interviews, where he talks about how many people he was going to have engaged in assisting with security at Astroworld and how that number changed based on when he was interviewed. I encourage you to look at that. And we also know that it's been reported by the New York Times that allegedly our police chief met with Travis Scott or Travis Scott's people, indicating concern about some of the things that have been said and things that have been done leading up to the concert. Next slide. And we know that when the gates were opened in the early afternoon of November 5th, that was the scene. Next slide. Now I ask you, does that look safe? Does that look organized, well run? Does that look like somebody took the time, effort, and energy to properly plan a concert to keep the individuals who pay their money and attend safe? Or does that look like utter chaos? And if it was like that in the early afternoon, imagine what it must have been like at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. We've had repeated reports, more than 30 different witnesses who have provided statements saying that the screening was non-existent, that there's no COVID screening, there was no security screening, that people were just being let in, bags weren't checked, people were smoking weed rampant throughout the concert, and that people were taking drugs. There was no management of that event whatsoever. It was pure and utter chaos. And had they told the people attending that that was going to be what it was like, most of them would not have attended. All over the internet we see, on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and other social media sites, the utter chaos that existed on that night. We see Travis Scott continuing to perform while EMTs and other first responders are trying to save people's lives. We know specifically with regard to Axel Acosta, we know that the individuals trying to save his life did not have what they needed to save that young man's life. There weren't enough people to help him. They did not have the right equipment, and he did not need to die. I'm not going to show all the various video that we've collected. It's all over the internet, but no one who sees that video would have wanted to be at that concert had they known that was what it was going to be like. And that brings me to Axel Acosta. He had just turned 21. He was incredibly good at computers. He had just transferred to a new university. He was going to school with his brother Joel. He comes from an extremely close family. His grandmother and grandfather are devastated, just as is his uncle and aunt, brother and father. This was needless. It was unnecessary and could have easily been prevented. We expect to file a lawsuit either today or tomorrow or the next couple of days. We want to make sure we get it right. We want to make sure that everybody is included that needs to be included. In this lawsuit, we intend to change the way concerts are put on, organized, promoted, and managed in the United States and in the world. It's our goal to make sure that this good, decent, solid young man did not die for nothing. I'm going to give you a couple of questions with Edgar. I told him that, as you can imagine, this is crushing for him. He has an appointment this afternoon with the funeral home to make arrangements so his son can go back home.
Señor Acosta, Pedro Rojas, Televisión, ¿nos puede hablar en español y contarnos cómo se siente, cómo está impactado usted por lo que ha pasado?
Pero como dice el abogado, esperemos que su vida cambie las cosas de cómo se hacen esos eventos, porque él vino a tener un rato agradable, tenía todas sus cosas preparadas para su regreso, muy responsable en la escuela. Y una cosa por negligencia de alguien que pasen estas cosas, porque todos los que hayan venido vinieron a divertirse.
Wait. We're not doing it that way. We're not yelling at him. Just wait a minute, please. We're going to take two more questions. Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Acosta, we just wanted to know, how did you learn about your son's passing? We understand that it took some time for him to be identified.
Yes, it took some time because as soon as we received the news, I was trying to get hold of him. I called to his hotel. They tell me that he didn't spend the night. That's why I start calling the sheriff office, the reunification, and they told me, Mr. Acosta, your son is not on the list, so you don't have to worry about anything. He's not on the list from the dead people or injured people. And I told them, well, he didn't spend the night on his hotel, so I'm worried about him. And then my son, he found his phone in the lesson phone, right? And so we tried to call again and ask for him for the body without identification. We called the hospitals, we called the sheriff office, and they tell me, no, we have all the names on the list, and he is not on the list.
Mr. Acosta, could you please tell us?
No, just a minute. I want to make sure we're clear about something. When the Acosta family, when his son's name was not on the list, he also inquired, well, are there anybody who is unidentified? Because they figured out that Axel's phone was in lost and found, and Axel was not the kind of young man that didn't answer his phone or did not stay in touch with his brother or his dad. He stayed in touch with his brother and father. So they knew something was up when they found out that he did not spend the night in the hotel. That is absolutely not like Axel. That's not like Axel. He does not drink. He does not do drugs. He does not stay out all hours of the night. So when they inquired, well, are there any, has anybody been recovered that you don't know who they are? And he was told no, that there wasn't. And it was only until they found the picture going around on the internet that they realized that a member of their family had died. So it wasn't just the fact that his son had died and his brother had died, but it was the way they found out about it was just horrific. We'll do one more question.
Mr. Acosta, could you please tell us, first, what you hope to accomplish with this lawsuit, and what do you want the world to know about your son?
I think the lawyer already said that we're trying to make things change in this type of events. Because today is me. I lost my son. It could be you. It could be you. When you send your kid to have some fun, and because somebody else is not providing the right I don't know how I can explain it, but the right security, because it's not the first time that he's been in a big events, right? You can go to Disneyland and have fun. You can go to a baseball game and have fun, right? Because they have the right security, the right people, some people assisting injured. It's hard to explain.
What would you like the world to know about your son?
He was a great kid, excellent student. He was looking for his family. He loves his grandparents. He was trying to study and going to school to be he was trying to be an engineer or computer programmer because he want to provide for his family. He really cares about. He was the first grandkid. He was the oldest one, and he always take care of his other cousins and nieces.
Thank you, guys.
¿Nos puede dar la misma respuesta en español, señor? ¿Cómo quiere que recuerden a su hijo? Solo que le van a traer el
Just say a little bit about him in Spanish.
Pues quiero que lo recuerden como un muy buen estudiante. Se graduó con los altos GPAs desde la high school, casi viene siendo un estudiante con straight A's. Fue el primer nieto. Amaba a sus abuelos. Veía por sus primos al ser el mayor. Y un excelente hijo.
Thank you. So what we're asking for those that watch this interview is if you have information, if you were at the concert and you have key information, or information at least that you believe is key, contact our office. We want to talk to you. We believe that the video on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook is going to be key to this case. And we ask that if you have such video, that you provide it to us. If you have information, provide it to us. We're easy to find. And you should also know that I think as we speak here, there is a hearing going on in court for a temporary restraining order to restrain the various entities that are being sued, to preserve all the evidence, and to make sure that Travis Scott preserve all of the texts and so forth on his telephone or telephones. And hopefully we will get that relief that we are seeking. And with that, that is all we're going to do today. Thank you.
Can you give a sample in the TRO hearing? Is that happening now?
It's happening right now.
In which court?
I think the ancillary judge is Judge Sandhill.
Is it your,
There's a lot of different lawsuits.
okay. Thank you very much.
Very nice podium, and not at all. Sí, yo como le digo, I think you're going to follow the way you have it before.